In the world we live in today, we see polarization everywhere. Now, some of you are probably asking, what exactly is polarization? Does it have to do with sunglasses, polar bears, ice caps? No, none of those actually. The polarization I'm talking about has to do with the fact that the human race likes to be with its own kind. Say there is one lonely Republican in a town full of Democrats. He'd want to move to a town with others who have the same views as him. This makes sense for him because he is all alone in his town and felt outnumbered by the Democrats. But wouldn't it be great if he didn't feel like he had to do that? Wouldn't it be great if these two political parties did not feel as if they had to live separate from each other? I mean, we're really not all that different, and I feel like it's healthy to be around people who may challenge your views rather than being stuck in an echo chamber of the same mumbo jumbo for the rest of your life. But that's just my opinion. I've been thinking about this subject for a little while now, and I believe I may have come up with some solutions for it. The first solution is about each individual person and what they can do to combat this. And I came up with the idea that everybody should take steps to try to be more tolerant of people from the other party. One of these steps might include having a respectful debate rather than getting in a yelling match when trying to express your political views. Another step we can take to combat polarization is to not dislike someone based solely on their political party. For example, my parents are heavily Democratic, and whenever they see a Trump supporter, they just automatically don't like them. They don't even need to know anything else, just that they support him. I don't like Trump either, but I'm not going to go around hating almost half of the US population because they support him. I'm also not saying they have to be all lovey-dovey with them either, though. It's healthy for us to express our political views to the other party and even debate with them a little bit, but it's unhealthy to disrespect someone just plainly on the fact that they like Trump. This is how polarization happens. We can't leave it up to individuals to solve this problem, but it's definitely where we should start. Another way we can try to solve this issue is on the institution level. Schools are where kids grow the most and where they discover who they really are. And the school itself could also have a lot of influence in that. If the school uses its influence on these young minds, then they could implement a curriculum that would teach the kids not to hate the opposite party and rather respect their opinion. If the schools are able to do this while the children are at a young, influential age, then that is probably when this system would work the best. If the kids have a non-polarization mindset early on, then they won't be polarized from the other party for the entirety of their life, which could solve a lot if they taught a whole generation like this. Now, some institutions are already so polarized that they would not go for this idea, especially not the private schools who don't have to go by state curriculum and can teach whatever they want. Like a Catholic school in the South in a heavy Republican populated area might not want to teach about democratic views, definitely not without being a little bit biased towards one side. Or a progressive private institution located in a democratic city would definitely be biased to the Democratic side and could have a hard time implementing some Republican views. These kinds of schools would have trouble with that, but the majority of children go to, for the most part, neutral public schools where this teaching would affect the most kids, and then the non-polarized would be the majority over the polarized. Now we can think even bigger into what the states can do. The state laws can't go too in depth with what you're thinking as an individual, but maybe a program can change your perspective. Many kids barely even get to leave their home county, so all they're surrounded by is people with the same view and people they see every day and just the same old stuff, which can cause polarization by not really letting them know that there's so much more out there for them to learn about and discover. So what about a program where it takes kids out of their hometown to really see what the world has to offer? They'll go to towns with different views, see beautiful nature, maybe even get a chance to help the less fortunate. This would help them because I believe that it could give them a new perspective on life by getting them out of their comfort zone. And I'm sure it would teach them to not judge a book by its cover or even a person by their political views. The polarization we have now is a result of hundreds of years of not really caring about separating the parties. It's not going to be solved quickly either, but I believe that if the institutions, states, and all individuals took in these ideas I've stated today, it might be gone sooner than you think. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.